Okay, tell me something, an easier question, okay? Because I know it's a little hard because no one ever asked you this question. What is a Muslim? Okay, and everyone has a different answer. I'll tell you, there's a reason. There's a proper 160 to be exact, years of constant hammering of philosophy. That's why any Muslim that you're going to pick up is going to have 20 seconds of thinking before answering the most simple question. What is a Muslim? Everyone will have relatively different answers, sometimes even opposing answers, okay? Sometimes even opposing answers. If we only knew the answers of what is a Muslim, if only we were all told this simple question when we were 10, 8, 12. Okay, let's start with where Allah Azza wa Jal starts with, right? Let's just start with that. And I'm going to break some serious news to you during the middle of a session, which you are going to seriously get mad at me for. Some of you are going to walk out. I know that in advance. Canberra went through this, Islamabad went through this, Karachi goes through this. Because we just somehow have to have a lot more guts to even understand what Islam is. And I'm not going to say anything against anybody, don't worry. I don't name names, because that's against the psychology of human beings. But you will see names, faces in front of you, and I'm going to talk to you about whatever went wrong. You will know who did this to you, or to me, to us. You will see them, because we all are under some sort of a spell of somebody who casted that spell in the name of Islam. Literally was quoting ayahs and ahadith in front of us. Everybody's different people, so I'm not going to just start, pinning blames on somebody in particular. But here is what Allah Azza wa Jalla is saying. So anybody who can tell me what it actually means. By the way, that's a picture of a black hole where, the whole universe is part of that universe. Is spinning into it, right? Anybody? Now, Allah Azza wa Jal does this a lot in the Quran. He starts talking about the man, or us, human beings, and look within yourself, he says. Have you not looked into your own self? And all of a sudden, Allah Azza wa Jal zooms out, literally, zooms out into the universe. Okay, he does that a lot. So understand there's a big correlation here. Like literally, we are a unit of this universe. However, no philosophy. I'm going to literally give you what is the seerah's angle towards it, the angle of the Prophet ﷺ, okay? So, Allah Ta'ala in Allah Azza wa Jal says, do not they reflect on themselves? Don't you think? Literally, don't you use your brain? Yatafakkar. Yatafakkar means ponder. Use your brain. Have you not used your brain on yourselves? Like, look what's going on inside you. What does that mean? Biology? Does that mean medical science? Does that mean neurology? What does that mean? I'll tell you what it means. What is the meaning that regular Muslims take right now? From the masjid, directly from the madrasa. Anybody from the hall? Well, what kind of science? See, this is not news to you. This is the Quran. I'm not talking about, somebody came up with some theory. This is the Quran. We all have read this. Yatafakkar fi anfusihim. Fi anfusihim. Yes. Yeah, what does that mean? No, in this, see, Allah Ta'ala says, fi anfusihim. Fi anfusihim, do they not look into their own selves? Okay? Yeah, human body. What does that mean? See, यही सवाल तो पाकिस्तानी मुसलमान पूछ ही रहा अपने आलिम से. What does that mean? Allah Ta'ala क्या कहना चाह रहे हैं? मैं अंदर कैसे देखूं? Yeah, I'll tell you what it means, because Allah Ta'ala has given you the meaning right there. And then look up and you'll see the same thing going on. Yeah, Allah uses the word haqq, the purpose, right there in this ayah, okay? Yes. So how did you come up with that?
Because it's telling about the bigger picture that everything is being done through a system.
Yes. It literally means that you're being made on a system. There's a system that's working right there. Read the system. And the same system is going to be visible to you everywhere you see, literally. I'll show you. Let me just show you. Okay? And then Allah said, it's not just saying, just read it. And then Allah says, can't you see the purpose? Forget Plato and Socrates and, whatever philosopher, Nietzsche and, Hume and Descartes. Allah is saying, you want to see the purpose? The $1 million question that every human being is pondering upon for the last thousands and thousands of years. Allah says, you want to see it? Okay, look into yourself and then look into the skies. You'll see the purpose. And also, you'll see how all of it is going to end. Ajalam musamma. Okay, appointed time. So the purpose is right there. How do I see the purpose here? That's the problem that I need you to solve for our little Mahas and our little Fatimas, little Alis and little Muhammads sitting in our homes. Okay, it's very interesting. The problem is, do not use any sort of metaphors, do not use any sort of big philosophies, rocket sciences. Just give it to them straight. Look how your body is working on a system. I'll tell you what the system is, don't worry. But you all know by now that there is a certain system. Otherwise, there would be no medical science, because we know the system now. Okay? So, do they not reflect on themselves? Allah creates the heaven and the earth, whatever lies between them. Whatever lies between them. Okay? مَا خَلَقَ اللَّهُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ وَمَا بَيْنَهُمَا إِلَّا بِالْحَقِّ. Nothing but with the purpose. إِلَّا بِالْحَقِّ. Nothing but with a purpose. And for an appointed time. Now, I have studied under many philosophers of Islam and scholars of Islam. Whenever I used to ask them, you know what Allah says in Surah Safa, this is Surah Rum, in Surah Safa Allah says, I'm going to show you within yourself, fi anfusikum wa fis samawat, in you, and I'm going to show you that Quran is the haqq. And I used to ask all of my teachers, how is it showing me the Quran is the haqq? How? So I got different Arabian, because my teachers were Arabian answers, and in Pakistan I got the Pakistani versions of answers. The Pakistanis actually do a certain thing. They spin everything around philosophy. The Arabians cut to the chase, they give it to you straight. This brother was just reciting the surah here, Surah Azab. Who was Zen? Zen was it? Where's Zen? The guy who did the Qiraat. Oh yeah, he's one of the, okay. So what did he say? Ya ayyuhallazina amanu taqullaha wa qulu qawlan sadida. That's what he read, right? That if you're not going to just give me straight, give it to them. If you are not afraid of anything else, you don't have the fear of people or what they're going to think, then you're just going to tell them what you're feeling, what you're seeing. You can give it straight. But if you're afraid of people, of what they're going to think, or you're trying to prove something to people, then you cannot talk straight to people. Then you'll have to please them. You'll have to please all and everybody who you're going to talk to. That's the anti of Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu taqullaha wa qulu qawlan sadida. If you're only afraid of Allah, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu taqullaha ittaqullah. If only Allah is inside your fear center, then you cannot have anybody else. Cannot. And the problem with Pakistani culture is, we cannot talk straight. We're trained not to talk straight. बदतमीजी होती है. So, it's a problem. क्या करूं? पहले तारीफ किया करो, फिर सीधी बात, फिर तारीफ एकदम. वरना नाक कट जाएगी. किसकी? अम्मी की. किसके आगे? पुप्पो के आगे. To train into this is why Tariq Jameel Saab cannot say to Imran Khan or Taqi Usmani Saab cannot say to Nawaz Sharif or Imran Khan or Musharraf that, dude, you're off. You're way off. You're literally stepping into hell. You're in that sort of a risk matrix. You're the decision maker of 300 million people, actually 2 billion people worth of decision. Because you're from Pakistan, we cannot say that. That's the difference with Sahaba psychology, Pakistani psychology. Indian psychology, same thing. Pakistani didn't invent it, the Indians gave it to us. We didn't take anything from India except the psychology. The Sahabi goes into the Persians have had this for millions of years. Before the dinosaurs, Persians were the way they are right now. So when the first Sahabi came into Persia, and he was there to deliver a message because Muslims were at the boundary, and he had this little spear in his hand. He was an old man walking with spear. He had broken sandals, and he was walking on that $1 billion carpet because he was in the presence of their Lord, Zartasht, and the whole protocol was standing there. The whole their king, and everybody was looking at this Sahabi. It was like, what is he doing? He's literally poking holes in the $1 billion carpet. And this guy just runs to the Sahabi and he says, listen, sir, I don't know where you're from, but look what you're doing, man. You are about to enter the presence of our Lord, our God. That's what they do. They have this word Khuda in there, right? Khuda, हमने भी लिया ना वो लफ्ज़ खुदा, ठीक है? अल्लाह को खुदा कहते हैं ना. तू मेरे खुदा के सामने जाने वाला है. Literally said that. तू क्या कर रहा है? And Sahabi says, अपने खुदा से कह कि उसके खुदा की तरफ से आया हूं. Tell your Lord that I am representing his Lord. Ya ayyuhallazina amanu taqullaha wa qulu qawlan sadida. Yuslih lakum a'malakum. So that you will be granted, you can encash all your deeds. Otherwise, sorry, everything's wasted. That's what Allah is saying in Surah Azab. So, what I'm saying is, I want to give it to you straight. Here it is. This is not working. Now, I'm not going to show you, Allah has shown you the bridge between the samawat and fi anfusikum. Just click on the maximize. Okay. Here you go. Here you go. I'm going to go through this later, don't worry. This is it. This is Andromeda, okay? This is the biggest thing we can see on our naked eye, okay, through our naked eye. I didn't use a telescope, okay, because you can see Andromeda from the naked eye. Sahaba used to see Andromeda, Egyptians used to see Andromeda, Sumerians used to see Andromeda. They knew, okay, this is something else. So I'm showing you Andromeda. This is the unit of the universe. Every galaxy looks like this, so don't worry. What is the galaxy representing? It represents simple thing, a system. System of what? Everything coming about, okay, attracted by, giving energy to and taking energy from. That's the system, a single center, okay? This is where we live in. Same thing, tiny little, a millionth of that part, okay? This is big, this is small. Of course, this is us. And this is, what is this? Do you know what this is? Yeah, this is the smallest thing that you can possibly fathom. That's the biggest thing that we can possibly fathom. And this is the smallest thing that we can possibly fathom. What's the similarity? It's the same system. It is literally the same mechanism going on. Single center, everybody has to congregate around that center in a orderly manner. Okay? This is what Allah Azza wa Jalla is saying. You cannot see that? Let me show it to you. Okay? This is the electron, right? These are the electrons around the orbit. Allah is saying, you cannot see Andromeda? Okay, you cannot see the electron? Okay, let me show it to you. This is it. You cannot see that there? You cannot see that here? Okay, let me show it to you right here. This is the insignia. You know that Apple laptop has Apple on it? Every human being has this. First ever human being sent to earth, literally sent to earth. Not made in earth, sent to earth. Allah says, go down to Adam alayhi salam. Sent to earth. And do what? Make this first. You see this? You see this here now? You see this? See the Kaaba in this? You see the Kaaba now? Do you see the Kaaba here? I see the Kaaba here. Oh yeah, we all see this. This is it. This is what Allah Azza wa Jalla is saying. This was there to begin with. This is the sign. This is the purpose I'm showing you. But we didn't ever read into it. What do you think? It was like a design Allah Ta'ala changed? No. Because Jews do believe that. You know, we believe in the triangle. You believe in the cube. That's what the rabbis tell me. Oh yeah, you know, from cube to triangle to cube. That was the Hajj, the 10 Hajj that Musa alayhi salam did. No, it's not. Because if it were the case, this would not have been made by Adam alayhi salam and Ibrahim alayhi salam, which is way before Moses. So Moses cannot come up with the triangle alayhi salam. Allah does not change the sunnah. It is a way bigger purpose here. This is what we all see. Here, we see it here, we see it here, we see it here, we see it right here. Now the problem is we did have that here till 1924. We had it. We had it right here. And then when we lost it, we didn't know what we were losing because people were telling us this is the biggest asset that we have. We take this out. Abu Hanifa says, Adamul Khilafa Ummul Khabais. If you take this out, every woman will give birth to a disease. Every man will harbor a disease. That disease is going to inflict an individual and the group. We just broke the center. We broke the center of the universe, like literally the universe. No metaphors, no puns intended. No analogy. We broke the center of the universe. Now there's a solution, don't worry. But let's understand the problem. So, whatever ayah I'm going to put in front of you, okay? This was the original order. When you understand this, you're going to understand every ayah of the Quran so simply. So simply. It'll all come together as missing pieces of the puzzle and you'll be like, oh, this was it all the time? Yeah. This was it all the time. That's how simple it is. That's going to help you and your kids understand Seerah like Ali bin Abi Talib. You're going to understand Seerah like Umar al-Khattab. Right now, how do we understand Seerah? We don't even know what Seerah is. And most of us, when we go to Seerah, you know what the cognitive dissonance is? Most of the people, when they explain Seerah, you know what they do? I'm not going to use names, you'll know them. What they do is 116 episodes of Seerah. Some parts are missing. Cannot explain certain parts, sir. I live in Canada, you see. I live in America. I cannot explain to you. Okay, that's the political side of it. So why can't you explain other parts? Oh, well, I don't know how to connect this part with the other part because the coherence is missing. We do not know why Allah Azza wa Jal chose certain parts of the planet for certain prophets. We do not know why Prophet ﷺ chose certain actions prior to other actions. We cannot understand, we cannot make sense of it unless we understand the original order. And I'll tell you who's actually, I'll literally tell you, I'm going to show you with numbers how the original world order is being presented to us. People are living up to it. They're really practicing it. They're not there yet, but then you'll be able to forecast their next step as well. As Muslims, you'll be able to do so much. I only read the calendar once, Torah twice. Talmud couldn't really go through all of it because the rabbinic and the Babylonian philosophies clash a lot. I have to spend about 10 years, I guess 10 years under a rabbi to understand what's the deal with Talmud. 147,000 verses, 600 orders of Talmud. I just can't get my head around this. Short of time, nothing else. Of course people have. I can too, anybody can. I didn't even want to because I got the sense of what Torah and the Tanakh, the whole, the Chitoim and the Navim, they're all talking about. What's going to happen in the next event? When is the Passover? What happened on the Passover in Israel? Why is the blood moon literally the blood moon over Israel every single time? What do you think? They put the blood moon there? No, Allah does. There's so much going on there. It's not just interesting, it's relevant to you, to my kids, your kids. That's what I'm saying. When we know how to read all of this, then you'll understand the practicality, the utility of everything. Right now, we're like, little wandering human beings who have little Allah lockets in their necks, do not really know where the next step is. And if anybody asks, like, what, I'm a Muslim, brother, when was the last time you prayed? Let's go have a Jama'ah. That's it. That's my Islam. 5 times a day, 10 minutes of absolute work focus, girl focus, money focus, whatever wish focus. That's what we go for prayer. That's why we go to masjids. Allahu Akbar, I want this and I want this and I want this. Yallah, you know what I want this. Most of the people who focus about prayers are focused on this, mostly women. Otherwise men, my boss was saying this, I don't know why he was saying this. This is my regular prayer. Like, who are we kidding? We all know this. Nissan raised his rate, interest rates going this and there. Why did she say that to me today? Everybody, it's not just you, everybody. Namaz ka matlab kya? One time, Imam Malik got this guy, and he said, I put a lot of gold in some part of my land, and I got a lot of land, and I've dug up everywhere. I just can't find it. Imam Malik. And he says, where are you from? And he says, I'm from Basra. It's like, okay, that's far enough. That's far enough. Why don't you pray 2 nafal? Okay? Right here. But you have to pray right here. He pointed at some random land. And then we talk. I said, okay. Could peer lagta nahi. So he stands at a place and he prays 2 nafal. And then he says, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, and says, Ya Sheikh, how'd you do that? I know I did it. And I'm like, yeah, everybody does, man. Because we never think about Allah. We just think about what I was worrying us. You could have prayed this way before and you would have found your gold. That's what we're going through. This is our prayer. And you know what our song, our roza is, right? You know what how we're fasting. But it's okay, at least we're fasting, right? But we're not doing certain things, and there's a problem behind this. Somebody told us out of Islam. Somebody talked us out of Islam. Somebody certified us as Muslims, even though there was not Islam. That's why Mahas and Alis, Fatimas are going to be thinking that Muslims, and no Muslim is going to benefit from their Islam, especially them. Because Muslim was an identity. Muslim was a verb. Being Muslim cannot be a title of an individual. Cannot be. I'll show you. I show you right here. You're not going to translate this symbol, right? I'll show you how Allah Azza wa Jal says that in the Quran. And then I'll show you how human beings have literally lived up to this identity regardless of whether they're Muslims or not. And that's not something that Muslims came up with. Every human being did this. Allah Azza wa Jal in the Quran says, there's a word for it. The biggest sin, not just any word. What is the biggest sin in Islam? Shirk is for the individual. Okay? Shirk is for the individual. That's the biggest thing you could possibly do. Why? Because human beings can think. The worst thing you can do in Islam is taghut. And most 99% of Pakistan, I'll take a sample right now. Like 600 people sitting here. Who knows what taghut actually means? Listen to me. This is the most important thing. It's my akhirah, your akhirah dependent on it. The biggest sin in Islam is taghut. Why have we not heard this word before? Taghut. With a toy, alif, ghain, wow, taghut. How can other powers be my sin? No. Hold on, it's all right. See, it's okay. The sample is from the population. I came from Pakistan. Nobody knows about this. Simple. It's a very simple. If it were complicated, it wouldn't be such a big sin. It would have been only for philosophers. Taghut is simple. Man who makes his own policies. That's taghut. Simple. You make your own policy now? Okay. You calling yourself God? Yeah. That's not shirk. Shirk is to be obedient to some gods. Taghut is not obedient to any God. I am God. I'll tell you the translation. I've got the best translation of taghut in Toronto. Actually, came from America. You know the finest translation of taghut is? The American dream. Think about it. What is the American dream? Why did you come to Australia? Should be my first question, eh? Why did you come to Australia? What were you thinking? Oh, I was thinking taghut, sir. Of course, not the word. But I was thinking, hey, whoa, liberty, freedom, my own way. Say what? No, American dream is not the better way of living. No. You guys don't know what the American dream is? Total independence of whatever I want to do. No holds barred. Yes, sir? Yeah, I make my own way, Bon Jovi. I make my own roads, okay? Now, this is the problem. In philosophy, it is registered as a disease, but nobody takes philosophers seriously. So psychology, they treat it with a pill, a medicine. There is a medicine for it in psychology. Literally, I'm not kidding. There is a medicine for it in you go to a clinician, and he's going to be like, oh, that's what you're going through? Okay, here you go. Take it 3 times. Start with 2.5 milligram. Go up to 6 milligrams. And then come after about 3 to 6 months. That is what they're going to tell you. Because they call it the cognitive dissonance. They call it the shadow of a self-belief. They call it low self-esteem. That's what your kids, my kids are going through. So, what is cognitive dissonance? Cognitive dissonance is simple. This is our mental state of order. Now, you pick out 10 people, 10 Pakistanis, 10 Australians, 10 whatever, right now, and you will not be able to tell the difference between the psychology or the philosophy because they didn't claim that they have a single center. We always claim that we have. Okay? Ek Allah, ek Rasool, ek Quran, बहुत अच्छी शायरी. We do not have that. I'll tell you why we don't have that. Because in psychology, we've developed a very good centripetal force around a center, which is very common between you and me, but that is not Islam. That is not Islamic. And we are very good Muslims running around that center. Whatever, could be money, cars, women, could be any success, job, status quo, could be anything. We're doing it really well. That is the American dream. That is the Australian dream. That is the Pakistani dream too. Who are we kidding? So our mental state and disorder goes through this sort of a problem. Now, this is what we go through. You and I have been taught this, okay? I'll tell you why we've been taught this. Here you go. Islam has a lot of values, a lot of sets of behaviors, and a lot of rituals. We have rituals in Islam. Give me 2 rituals. Prayer and fasting, yeah, okay. What are 2 definite behaviors of Islam? Behaviors. Come on, behaviors. How am I supposed to behave? Okay. Akhlaq, yeah, mannerism, yes, okay, good manners. What else? Okay. And what kind of values do we have? Integrity, yes. Yeah, integrity. What else? Empathy. We have empathy. We have justice. Yeah, I got it. Okay. Yeah. Now tell me, what does that have to do with Islam? Mother Teresa had it really well. Jews do it. Awesome. They fast. They pray. What does that got to do with us versus the other identities? Where is the difference between a Muslim and a Jew here? Don't they fast? Don't they go for, prayers every day? Are they told not to be honest? No empathy in Christianity? Actually, they have way more empathy than Muslims. Christians have 1,000,000 times more empathy than Muslims. They took it straight from Isa ibn Maryam. We didn't take it from Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Shame on us. But go on. What's the difference between any Christian with these values, rituals, and behavior and us as Muslims? Well, they use the word God. So they have the purpose. They say, we're doing it for God. See, the problem is that we were given a recipe, we were not told how to use it and what for. And that's the problem only Muslim can solve for each other, us. And the Quran is yelling for it. The Seerah is actually explaining it like a physics numerical, literally a numerical. Certain variables, certain constant, you have to mix them and then you're going to get a certain right side of the equation. If you do not get the right outputs, something's wrong with the way you're putting the inputs. That's literally what the definition of Seerah is. All the variables, all the constants. Okay? Now, these are the rituals. And then now, most Muslims are going through is what the world without Islam is going through. What atheists go through is moral relativism, postmodernistic begotten child, that this is right for you, but not right for me. This is why Muslim kids, and I was talking about that child from Sydney, this is what happened, and it happened to many, thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of people, as most Pakistanis are going through, that this child, Hafiz the Quran, was raised under the, Auschwitz concentration camp sort of a Muslim household. Have to do this, have to do that, slapped around. Did the Hafiz course, is in a Islamic school, and then as soon as he had his 17th birthday, that's a good city to be adult in, Sydney. If you're 17, you can do much more than what you can do in Melbourne. So what he does is, he moves right across the street to an 18-year-old woman, 18 than him, older than him, in a conjugal relationship, who has way more tattoos than that woman now, way more piercing than that woman now, and that's the end of the story. That's the normal and positive, very, very, not positive, normal reaction to this sort of a uh, purposeless, ritual full, behavior enforced, values announced parenting model. That's what's going to happen to my kids and your kids if we do not direct them. Now, the problem, look at this. This is where we are inside the session, okay? We have a great intent. We have some sort of a grayish sort of a identity definition. And all of a sudden, since we did not have the purpose, somebody told us, no, you don't need it. Actually, a lot of people told us. And now, we actually believe that since Tariq Jamil says that, Taqi Usmani says that, Mufti Menk says that, or whatever, and everybody, in my madrasa or school said that. My mommy says that too. So everybody cannot be wrong. Since everybody cannot be wrong, so Islam does not really have an actual purpose. It is a very free religion. I can do whatever on this planet as long as I have certain values, certain principles, and my behavior shows for it. That is what you and me define. This is you and me. This is you and me. And then we have the guts to measure each other's Islam every single day. You cannot measure an Islam of everybody now. Anybody. Nobody can measure Islam of nobody. Hence, where's the justice? Well, Australia will do that for you. We are all law-abiding citizens. Really, laws? Where? Australians. Or where's the camera? Canadians or American. Most Pakistanis, most, not all, exceptions are there, but 99% are way better citizens than Australians. Way better, actually. Most Pakistanis are way better Americans than Joe Biden himself. Well, most Americans are better than Joe Biden, but most Pakistanis are way better than your average American local. Most Pakistanis are awesome English people, way more law-abiding than anybody else. Actually, they teach law. You know that? You go to England, every Pakistani is going to teach you law. They're going to show you what the law is. And most English people know. I was taught some law by the year, right? Some law. So they teach you law. In Pakistan, you know what they do? They don't teach you law. But that's not what my point is. My point is, Pakistanis, as soon as they leave the Pakistan airspace, all of a sudden they become awesome, current definition Muslims. Let me just finish this point, I'll come to you. So everybody has that opportunity to practice that sort of Islam. And you know what? That's why in Pakistan, सबसे बड़ा जुमला पता क्या बोला जाता है? जान की उर्दू में बोल रहा हूँ, स्पेशली आंटियाँ बोलती हैं, अमेरिका में बेटा ज़्यादा इस्लाम है पाकिस्तान से भी. I'm like, yeah, of course. जाहिर है अमेरिका में ज़्यादा इस्लामी होना था, क्योंकि अमेरिका में इस्लाम की वो वाले स्कॉलर्स वो वाला वर्जन ऑफ इस्लाम नहीं सिखा रहे ना. वहाँ पे हमें ट्रेन आउट ऑफ इस्लाम जो नहीं किया जाता. जो वर्जन आपको पता है वो तो बेहतरीन अमेरिका में होना था. इंग्लैंड में ना इस्लाम देखना है तो इंग्लैंड आके देखो. कौन? पाकिस्तानी आंटी की आखिरी व्हाट्सएप ट्वीट से इक़्तिबास. मैं ऑस्ट्रेलिया में किसी से मिला नहीं हूँ. क्या पता ऑस्ट्रेलिया में भी ऐसे हो. तो बेटा इस्लाम देखना है, कैनबरा जाओ. आपने भी सुना होगा. I don't know, maybe I'm not going to judge you. But yes, that definition of Islam is way more in the West than anywhere else. There's a reason for it. And that's the problem I'm actually trying to make you solve for your kids. अपने जैसा मुसलमान नहीं बना देना अपने बच्चों को. There's a responsibility. My job is قولوا قولا سديدا. Okay? قولوا قولا سديدا is your kids telling you, Mommy, don't beat behind the bush. Give it to me straight. I'm giving to you straight. Somebody else didn't. That's why you're going to see Muslim clerics sitting on this stool like this. They're going to start with Allah Azza wa Jal's name. They're going to open the Quran in front of you. And all they're going to do is rituals, behavior, values. Rituals, yeah. Behaviors, yes. Values. What's around this? It's called the fatwa. Okay, that's it. That's the entirety of my being here? Yes. Hence, no energy in a Muslim. Hence, Muslims cannot amount to anything in this planet. Never. With this philosophy, you cannot. Nobody has. You need a centripetal force for even morality to grow. Morality is an accumulative whole. I didn't say that. The psychologists say that. Morality of an individual is held on by the group. A single man in the jungle cannot be moral. He has to have a group regulating the morality of this guy, refreshing it, holding, grounding it, putting him accountable for any mistake. That's the natural order. If there is no punishment, there is no morality. It can't even grow inside me. And who's going to punish me? Of course, the system is going to punish you. Well, Australia does that. Yes, that's why morality in the West. That's why you say, yahan pe Islam zyada hai. That's it. Otherwise, Islam kahin pe bhi zyada kam nahi hai. Islam सिर्फ और सिर्फ उस वक्त ज़्यादा है जब इस्लाम का सेंटर मौजूद होगा, वरना इस्लाम ज़ीरो है. इंसान ज़्यादा हैं, इस्लाम ज़ीरो है. So, what is the symptoms? Well, we know identity crisis is the system. We all know, everybody knows. Let's not kid around. I've been around the world plenty. At certain ages which are really, really critical. For example, 10, for example, 15. I was not in Pakistan. So I was thinking, okay, most of the people have gone through this. So all of you guys have gone through this. You're first generation immigrants. What did you go through? You went through simple things. Like, how can you be a Christian and believe in all of these values without the Quran? And me and my people with the Quran don't believe in any of these values. How can you be so nice every time you say, how you doing, mate? You enter an elevator and everyone's trying to service you. You go to a counter, everyone's trying to smile at you and service you. Behaviors, manners, yes. People are good human beings without cameras on. Pakistan mein camera on, awesome mu'mineens. Camera off, all Abu Jahls. Camera is an amazing, amazing spirit. But here, you go to a tiny little convenience store and that person is going to give you that little confusion as to what? Really? How did that happen? All of a sudden, all the identity goes down the drain. Because, first of all, you are the solute, these people are the solvent. And solvent presses the solute. Solute does not have maha, solute does not have its own identity. Unless something else is backing it up. And no solute can survive the solvent. That's why it's called the solvent. It's going to adapt to the behavior and the identity of the solvent. Australia, solvent. Pakistan, Pakistani immigrant, solute. You come in, if you're not going through the inferiority complex, then there's something wrong with your brain. So don't worry, if your mommy went through that complex with her daddy, you have to walk out of it consciously, work towards it. It's not uncommon for a Pakistani to think that the next white guy is more competent than him just because he's white. It's okay, immigrants go through that. Then you have to work, prove yourself. And as soon as you are recognized by the local, all of a sudden you think you made it. This kind of pressure is the reason why hijrah is the biggest deed in Islam. Of course, hijrah for Allah, but the problem is the same. When an immigrant goes, he comes into the biggest amount of pressure. The tide takes him. He loses his self-esteem, self-belief, self-worth. And then you know what he has to do? He has to prove to everybody that the philosophy is right. I don't care. Tell your lords that I am from your Lord, from their Lord. This is the K2 and the Everest he has to climb. It is the burden only prophets bear. That's why immigrants are looked up so high in Islam. हिजरा का इतना बड़ा, ये आपको उर्दू में जान के बता रहा हूं, हिजरा का सबसे बड़ा सवाब क्यों है? हिजरा आपकी साइकोलॉजी को क्रश कर देती है और आप दोबारा से जीरो से बिल्ड करते हैं अपनी साइकोलॉजी। सबसे बड़े समंदर के बहाव के अगेंस्ट खड़े अकेले होते हैं और अपना फलसफा प्रैक्टिस कर रहे होते हैं। रिमाइंड ऑफ यू दैट एनीवन, सबको पता चल गया ना किसकी बात कर रहा हूं? हर नबी अकेला मिशन, फर्स्ट मैन, यस। Jibreel Amin comes to the Prophet ﷺ and says, everybody's wrong. Everybody's wrong. The powerful, yeah. The weak, yes. Your friends, yes. Your family, yes. Everybody's wrong, O Muhammad. You have to tell them that what is the right thing to do. Understand Musa alayhi salam ke saath kya hua hai. When the burning bush attracted him, and he says, go to Pharaoh, the guy who thinks he's right with all the powers, say to him, सब कुछ गलत है, सब कुछ गलत है, yes, सब कुछ गलत है. Imagine inferiority complex, तोड़ना किसे कहते हैं? That's the prophetic way. The prophetic way that, you know what, this is the most difficult job. That's what all of you guys are going through. Why do you think your kids are way more Australians than you can possibly imagine? They can leap and bound in 10 years, which you couldn't in 200 years. They didn't go through this. Your kids are not going to go through that kind of a problem. You did. You migrated. आप बताता हूं, 2 मसले हो गए ना, फलसफा ही गलत आ रहा था, every man for himself, और उसके बाद ऑस्ट्रेलिया आ गए. For the English, you know, I don't know why we don't tell each other the truth, but who's read the English translation of the Quran? Yeah. That is the best way to make people run away from Islam. Those English translations, शेक्सपियर की सक्की मां भी नहीं कर सकती उसकी ट्रांसलेशन. ये हमारे साथ साजिश नहीं है. I'm telling you, Pickthall did not know that English. He was Googling it up. And he made sure, you know what, this is the perfect word. Because it is the perfect word, I'm sure. I'm not doubting his intent. But that's not English, man. That's what happens to those Mormons, you know. You know who Mormons are? Australia's Mormons? Yeah, okay. Well, Mormon, you know what they did? They came up with this Jason's, the Queen's English, that version of English, that is like, you know, that's really royal English. There's a word for it, I keep forgetting. Big words, like 17 alphabet words, 14 alphabet words. And they have to put them all in the single sentence. That's what Muslim kids are going through. Because when we give them, you know what, since हमने उर्दू नहीं सिखाई, हमें थोड़ा और भी complex होता है, तो English, you know what, here you go. My son, I'm going to give you the Quran. Okay? And then he'll be like, I would rather understand Arabic than this English. Even though I was born and raised in Australia, even the the president of Australia cannot know the meaning of this. The thesaurus is not even updated. When I use it online, that word does not exist on Google anymore. That's what happened to English translation. हौज़े कौसर पे नबी अलैहिस्सलाम के सामने खड़ा हो गया, क्या कह लेगा? क्या प्लान बनाया आप लोगों ने? कभी किसी ने सोचा? When you're going to meet him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, what are you going to say? क्या किया? Good person? You're a good person? That's your case? You actually think that's your case? कि sir, I was a good person? या रसूलल्लाह, मैं एक अच्छा आदमी मरा हूं. You think that's going to cut it? हमसे बहुत अच्छे, I swear to you on paper, बहुत अच्छे इंसान Christians हैं इस वक्त. I and you both know this. Christians are way better human beings than us. 100 का सैंपल लेके देख लेते हैं, दुनिया के किसी मुल्क से लेके देख ले, पाकिस्तान से ही लेके देख ले. They're nicer, more mannered, more empathetic, deliberate fairness, softer, way softer actually. Who's making them soft? You know who's making them soft? Isa ibn Maryam's कैरिकेचर, जो भी इन्होंने इमेजिनेशन बनाई है ना ईसा इब्न मरियम की, जिसने भी दी थी, आई एम नॉट फॉर एनी आइडेंटिटी अदर देन द मुस्लिम आइडेंटिटी। आप रास्ते में पाकिस्तान आए, इंडिया आए, मक्का आए या मदीना आए, आई एम गोना बुलडोज इट कि मेरे मोहम्मद और मेरे बीच में कोई नहीं आएगा। हमें पीस के रख दिया है ये 50 मुल्कों के अंदर। मैं पाकिस्तानी नहीं, मैं मुसलमान पहले हूं। पाकिस्तानी होने का फायदा पाकिस्तान को होना चाहिए, पाकिस्तानी को नहीं। गौर से समझे इस फर्क को। पाकिस्तान को हमने सिर्फ नुकसान पहुंचाया है। द आइडेंटिटी वॉज क्रैश्ड बाय अस बिकॉज वी वर नॉट मुस्लिम इनफ। You need to understand, you think it's a small matter for me? No, it's the biggest matter. कि हमने दुनिया में जहां जहां पाकिस्तानी गए हैं ना, हमारी वजह से इस्लाम को इज्जत मिलनी चाहिए थी। और माने तो सही, इस्लाम तबाह किया, हमने बदनाम किया है। अगर मेरी और आपकी जनरेशन भी तारीफें करती ना एक दूसरे की, पिछली आंटियों की तरह, यास्मीन मेरी और आप भी करते रहे, और तबाही मच गई है, बच्चे तबाह हो गए। मैं बता दूं, 2 मिनट के लिए अपना झंडा उतारें, 2 मिनट के लिए इंडिया पाकिस्तान से बाहर आए और खुली हवा देखें, सीरा की क्या हवा है। देखें, मेरे नबी अलैहि वसल्लम के सामने एक वाकया हुआ, गौर से समझ लें वाकये को। जो प्रैक्टिकल जोक क्रैक किया एक अंसारी ने महाजर के साथ। प्रैक्टिकल जोक सीरियस हो गया। प्रॉफेट सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम अभी मस्जिद नबी में, हुजरे में, और गुस्से में लड़ाई शुरू हो गई। यहां तक कि महाजर जो भी सहाबी थे, अब उस वक्त उन्होंने आवाज लगा दी, किधर है वो महाजरीन, निकलो सारे। उसके जवाब में अंसारी ने कहा, अंसार मुकाबले पे आ जाएं। दोनों ने नारा लगाया। नबी अलैहिस्सलाम बाहर तशरीफ लाए और कहा कि ये जाहलियत की आवाजें कहां से आई हैं मुझे आज, ये जाहलियत की हवाएं कहां से चलना शुरू हो गई, ये क्या महाजरीन अंसार लगाया हुआ है। ओके, मेक श्योर यू अंडरस्टैंड, मैं किसी शक में नहीं हूं, मैं तो मरी कौम, सेंटर ऑफ पाकिस्तान। ओके, आई लिव इन इस्लामाबाद, इस्लाम आबाद। ओके, इस्लाम आबाद। ओके, now understand what I'm trying to get at. I need Pakistan to prosper as a Muslim center of the world, क्योंकि ये वाहिद मुल्क है, ये वाहिद मुल्क है जो कि अल्लाह के नाम पे हमने कहा था, वाहिद नहीं है, दूसरा है, पहला हम थे, दूसरा इसराइल है। ये वाहिद मुल्क है जिसने कहा था कि जो कलमा पढ़ा है पासपोर्ट है, ये लो आओ। हमने कोशिश की है अल्लाह के नाम के ऊपर काम करने की। बाद में ये लियाकत अली खान से याहिया खान तक के 2 नंबर आए ना, मुशर्रफ इमरान खान तक के, ये बाद में आए हैं सारे, जिनको किसी वजह से कंफ्यूजन मिली है। उनका कसूर नहीं था, मगर उनको खुद दे कुड हैव वॉश्ड इट आउट। व्हाट डू यू थिंक? मेरे पे नाउज़ बिल्लाह वही तो नहीं आती ना। आपकी कॉमन सेंस है, मेरी कॉमन सेंस वही है। मैं आपको एग्जाम्पल देता हूं। आयुष्मीन सैफुर रहमान sitting right here in our room. Saf? Yeah. पूरा नाम क्या आपका? Now this is what's going on here. Listen to what I'm trying to tell you. थोड़ा दिल बड़ा कीजिएगा। अभी पाकिस्तान और इस्लाम का मुकाबला होने लगा है, दिल बड़ा कीजिएगा। ओके जी सैफ, लेट मी गिव यू केस स्टडी बड़ी। आपके वालिद साहब पाकिस्तानी थे, आपको पता ना? या इट्स ओके, डोंट वरी, सही है। या उसके उनके वालिद साहब इंडियन थे, पता ना? या दैट्स हाउ इट वर्क्स, राइट? कल को कराची खुदा ना खास्ता अलग हो जाता है तो वही होगा जो अभी मैं और सैफ के साथ डायलॉग होने वाला है। गौर से सुनना, अल्लाह के नाम पे जान देना सबसे बड़ी शहादत है। शहादत है गवाही, ठीक है, सबसे बड़ा। कि भाई मैं इससे बड़ी तो कुछ चीज है नहीं, ये लो दे देता हूं अल्लाह के नाम पे, इतना मैं बिलीव करता हूं अल्लाह के कलाम पे, अल्लाह के रसूल पे, इसको शहादत कहते हैं। यस, उसके लिए हम क्या करते हैं पाकिस्तान में? उसको ऑनर करने के लिए निशान हैदर देते हैं ना, ठीक है। सैफ और रहमान के मोहल्ले से एक लड़का उठा है, मेरे मोहल्ले से एक लड़का उठा है, ठीक है, लाहौर में मिले, दोनों एक जहाज में बैठे। सैफ के मोहल्ले का लड़का मेरे मोहल्ले के लड़के को ओवर पावर करने की कोशिश करता है इन द नेम ऑफ अल्लाह, और मेरे मोहल्ले का लड़का वो जहाज नीचे गिरा देता है। ओके, वी ऑल नो दैट बॉय, वी ऑल नो दैट। सैफ डजंट नो दैट बॉय, सैफ नोज द अदर बॉय। यू नो व्हाई? आई टेल, होल्ड ऑन। Saf's government comes together and says निशाने हैदर दो उस लड़के को। Our government comes together and says निशाने हैदर दो इसको। दोनों دنیا کا سب سے بڑا آنر لے کے جائیں گے. آپس میں لڑ رہے تھے کس کے نام پہ؟ اللہ کے نام پہ. کیوں؟ کیونکہ کسی نے کہا ہے بنگلہ دیش آئیڈینٹی ہے، پاکستان آئیڈینٹی ہے، اسلام آئیڈینٹی نہیں ہے. لیبل اسلام کا لگایا ہوا اوپر. ذرا سوچ، ڈونٹ یو سی واٹس گوئنگ آن ہیئر؟ مجھے پتا کس کے سامنے شرمندگی ہے؟ راشد مناس کے گھر والوں کے سامنے. جب وہاں پہ آخرت میں کھڑے ہوں گے میں کہوں گا کیا ہوا؟ ابھی تک فیصلہ نہیں ہوا میرا. دو مسلمان لڑ رہے تھے آپس میں، کیوں؟ لکیریں کھینچی ہوئی ہم نے. اور ٹھیک ہے لڑیں، علاقوں کی بھی لڑائیاں اسلام میں ہوتی ہیں، مگر اسلام کے نام پہ تو نہ کیش اسلام نہیں ہو سکتا. سوری، اسلام کیش نہیں ہو سکتا. اسلام آخرت میں کیش ہوگا. یو کی ناٹ corrupt the philosophy of a human being in the name of Islam and call yourself a scholar or a Muslim or a mother or a father. Pakistan is heaven if we have a purpose, central purpose system کے اندر ڈال دیا. ورنہ پاکستان is nothing better than India, Bangladesh, Afghanistan, Tajikistan, England, America, Australia. If anything, we all know it's worse right now. ورنہ کیا ویلیو ہے پاکستان کی؟ اگر اسلام کا نظام نہیں آ رہا تو اس پاکستان تو ایک بہت بڑا کینسر بن جائے گا پوری دنیا کے لیے. کیوں؟ فراڈ، نام اسلام کا، کام 2 نمبر. وہ بنگالی یا انڈین یا افغانی اس نام پہ دھوکہ تو نہیں دیتے، ہم تو اس نام پہ دھوکہ دیتے دنیا کو کہ پاکستان کا مطلب کیا؟ لا الہ الا اللہ. We have 10 million times the responsibility. We cannot accept confusion in the core. Core, سینٹر میں، کعبے کا سینٹر جو لکھا ہے، کور میں کنفیوژن ڈالی ہوئی کہ یہ تو ایگزسٹ ہی نہیں کرتا. سر آپ کے اپنے اسکالرز، دنیا کے اسکالرز اس وقت کیا باتیں کر رہے ہیں، مسلم اسکالرز کیا باتیں کر رہے ہیں؟ اسلام کا مطلب ہوتا ہے آپ کا اور اللہ کا عرفان، اللہ کو پہچان، تو اللہ کا بندہ، اللہ تیرا مالک، تو اکیلا اللہ تعالی تزکیہ کر، اپنا نفس صاف کر، بس that's what Islam is. یہ دکھاتا ہوں آپ کو. دور کہاں جا رہے ہیں؟ This is an argument used by your current scholarship right now. Right now in the camera, they use this ayah as the argument. That's why we're all confused. الَّذِينَ إِن مَّكَّنَّاهُمْ فِي الْأَرْضِ أَقَامُوا الصَّلَاةَ وَآتُوا الزَّكَاةَ. They say, you know what, Sahil, Adeem, where did you come up with this? سینٹرل سسٹم ہونا ضروری ہے، پروسیس لاز اسلام کے ہوں، نظام اسلام کا چلے، سینٹر میں نظام ہو، باقی پوری دنیا میں جہاں مرضی مسلمانوں سے گرد ریوالو کریں. کہاں سے لے کے آئی یہ تکے؟ That's what they say. Scholarship, real, credible scholarship. Say this to me on my face. In debates, on phone, in emails, a lot of resistance. And all of you guys are going through this, not just me. کہ یہ کہاں سے نکالیے؟ یہ دیکھو اللہ تعالیٰ کیا کہہ رہا ہے قرآن پاک میں، یہ دیر چیف آرگیومنٹ، اس لیے اسکرین پہ پریزنٹ کر رہا ہوں. الذین ان مکناہم فی الارض اقاموا الصلاۃ وآتوا الزکاۃ. آگے پہلے یہاں پہ رکوں کہ اللہ تعالیٰ کیا کہہ رہے ہیں؟ اللہ تعالیٰ کہہ رہے ہیں کہ جب نظام دے دیتے ہیں، when we establish them on the land, when we give them the power, you know what they do? They say, establish the prayer, aqam as-salat, pay your alms, zakat, and then amr bil ma'ruf wa nahy anil munkar. Then they tell you what is to do good, what good is this, kya hai good, and then just do what good is. And then they stop you, and then Sahil Adeem. Muslims don't stop you, Muslim government stop you. What nahy anil munkar is the job of the government. Not a regular man cannot, take the law in his own hands. سنا والا سارا کتاب یہ ہے تشریف آرگیومنٹ. یہ قرآن پاک کی ایک آیت ان کو ملی ہے جس کا اصل میں مطلب 8 سال کا بچہ بھی بتائے گا اس کا مطلب. Anyone who has never read this ayah, read this in English, I'll read this in Arabic, and you'll find out اس 2 نمبر سے ہمیں اسپیل کیا گیا. یہ 2 نمبر ہمیں اسی لیے ہمیں آپ لوگوں کو پہلی دفعہ سننا ہے کہ سر یہ کیا کعبے کا مطلب آپ نے نکال لیا کیا کہ شاید دیکھی اور نیوکلیس کے الیکٹران دیکھی اور آپ مان لیں. بتاتا ہوں کیسے مان. اللہ تعالیٰ کیا کہہ رہے ہیں؟ They are those, Muslims are those. Okay? If we establish them in land, if we establish them کا مطلب ہے کہ اللہ ہی بنائے گا، آپ کے اور میرے ہاتھ میں نہیں. کوشش ہم کریں گے بن گیا تو اللہ نے بناؤ. ٹھیک ہے، یہ ہے if we establish them.
دیکھیں گے ٹرانسلیشن کس نے پوچھا تھا سوال ٹرانسلیشن کا یہ 2 نمبر یہ میں نے کاپی پیسٹ کیا ہے مین اسٹریم ویب سائٹ سے ابھی آپ گوگل کریں گے آپ کو بھی یہ ملے گی یہ غلط ٹرانسلیشن آپ کو بھی ملے گی یہ 2 نمبر کرتے ہیں these are the culprits the perpetrators the thieves of our philosophy you think this is what Allah is saying look at the English once we establish them on land they're going to perform prayers that's what aqam as-salah means you perform your prayer aqam as-salah you see
these games, can you tell these games? This is the kind of games that current philosophy جو میں اور آپ ٹرین ہوئے ہیں اسلام میں. Make sure you understand. Aqam as-salah means everybody prays. That's how simple aqam as-salah means. Everybody prays. So what's my job? My job is to make sure everybody prays. As a man, what's your job? Your job is to make sure everybody prays. Aqam as-salah means everybody prays. Namaz qaim ho gayi hai. You understand me? That's what Arabi is saying. That's what Sahabas did. That's what the Prophet did. No exception. The only difference between a Muslim and a kafir is salah. Salat اتنی بڑی چیز ہے. میں ابھی سلاد کے اوپر نہیں جا رہا ہوں. میں ایگزامپل دے رہا ہوں آپ کو کہ سلاد کیا ہے. جمہور مسلمانوں کا فتویٰ, women should especially listen to, کہ ایک آدمی اگر مسلمان آدمی جان کے نماز نہیں پڑھتا, اس کی بیوی کو چاہیے اگلے حیض سے پہلے گھر جائے, ورنہ زنا کرے گی. Surprised? Why wouldn't we be surprised? آدمی کو نہیں ہے حکم کہ بیوی نماز نہیں پڑھتی تو اس کے اگلے حیض کا ویٹ. نو, آدمی کو کیا حکم ہے؟ پڑھاؤ بیوی کو نماز. لیڈرشپ دی ہے تمہیں. اور کیا حکم ہے؟ تم پہ نہیں اس کا سوال ہونا, بی بی بھاگو ادھر سے, تم سے تمہارا سوال. میں ایگزامپل کیوں دے رہا ہوں نماز کی؟ آپ دماغ کی نسیں پھٹ رہی ہیں نا, ابھی اسکپ کریں ذرا. کیوں؟ اپنے آپ کو سیٹسفائی کرنے کے لیے کسی بھی مفتی کے پاس چلے جائیں, وہ مدر ٹریسا ورژن آف اسلام دے دے گا. ڈونٹ ورری اباؤٹ, توبہ کر لیں اور آ جا, تیری نیت تو ٹھیک تھی نا, نیت تو ٹھیک تھی. یہ میں آپ کو بتا رہا ہوں اسلام کی ڈیمانڈ کیا. لو سیلف اسٹیم کا بندہ اسلام پہ قرآن پہ نہیں آ سکتا. یہ کوئی جملہ میں بتا ہی نہیں رہا. نو ونس ٹیلنگ اس a timid lack of courage, lack of غیرہ اسلام کے اوپر قرآن کی بیسک ڈیمانڈ نہیں پوری کر سکتے آپ. وہ میں آپ کو بتا رہا ہوں کہ طریقہ, اس کا شارٹ کٹ ہے. سسٹم بنائیں گے, سسٹم پوری کروا دے گا, آپ کی ضرورت نہیں رہے گی, ٹینشن نہ لیں, آپ اپنی لائف میں بالکل صحیح مینٹین رہیں گے. بٹ اگر سسٹم نہیں ہے تو پھر آپ کو پوری کرنی پڑیں گی. دس از واٹ از the ayah is saying کہ امر بالمعروف والنہی عن المنکر. Everybody is saying that, from تقی عثمانی صاحب تو غامدی صاحب. کیا امر بالمعروف والنہی عن المنکر کیا ہے؟ What is امر بالمعروف والنہی عن المنکر? What is it? No. سچ کا ساتھ دینا, سچ کا ساتھ, عمل میں نیکی کا حکم دو اور برائی سے رکو. اللہ تعالیٰ in the Quran says you are the best of the people. Why? How are you the best of the people? Because you do amr bil ma'ruf wa nahy anil munkar. We did not see this being done by other people. Christians do amr bil ma'ruf, awesome. They do not do one nahy anil munkar. They do not do that. They say, you know what? Leave what is to Caesar unto Caesar. Okay? And what is to the church unto the church. Matthew chapter 22. Whoever came up with this blamed Matthew that Jesus told him. That Jesus never said that. Okay? Shouldn't be in the Bible. But it is. Okay, I get it. But Christians don't know that, or Christians don't believe that it's by Matthew. Ironically, the only time Jesus spoke about money was through the mouth of Matthew, the tax collector. Everything else, Jesus said, was oblivious to money. Coming back. Christians believe that government کا کام ہے, میں مانتا ہوں. مسلمس کب سے بلیو کرنا شروع ہو گئے ہیں کہ ون نہیں منکر میں نہیں کروں گا, اور سمجھ لیں کہ مسلم بلیو کرتے ہیں کہ ون نہیں منکر میرا کام نہیں ہے. تو یہ بتائیں, کین آئی آرڈر یو ٹو ڈو نماز؟ کین آئی ایز اے پرسن آرڈر کہ چلو نماز پڑھو, یا چلو سچ بولو, ابھی یہ تم نے جھوٹ بولا ہے, یا چلو روزہ کیوں رکھا, روزہ رکھو. کین آئی ڈو دیٹ؟ نو, ان دا کرنٹ سسٹم کین آئی ڈو دیٹ؟ So when Allah is saying Amr bil Maruf, Allah is not saying do the nasiha. Allah is saying Amr, order the good. How can I let you order me? See, that should also be the job of the government, not me. But as soon as Amr bil Maruf comes, because it is, oh, jaan to nahi jati na isse. Oh, تو وہاں وہ کر لیا کرو. ون نہیں المنکر, فلسطین کون جائے گا؟ نہیں, یہ تو گورنمنٹ کا کام ہے. That's the game. That's why I'm telling you, any and every lecture you're going to go through, people are going to burst. کہ یہ کیا ہوا؟ سر یہ تو آپ نے پورا کا پورا فلسفے کو چیلنج کر دیا. آپ بتاتا ہوں وہ کیوں چیلنج کر دیا. آتا ہوں اس پہ آتا ہوں. سب سے پہلے سمجھ لیں, because most of the people right now, not just you guys, of course you guys included, most of the guys who's watching this video by now, their brain is going through a certain split of the atom. کہ نہیں سر یہ نہیں ہو سکتا, this is too much to handle. You cannot be the only man right and every scholar I've ever met is wrong. Well, no, every scholar that you've ever met is not every scholar in the world. Come out of this little bubble. Most of the scholars that you've met or read are taking literature. وہ والا نصاب اٹھا رہے ہیں, ان لوگوں کا نصاب اٹھا کے آپ کو سنا رہے ہیں جن لوگوں نے جب کتابیں لکھی تھی تو اسلام پہلے ہی سینٹر میں اسٹیبلش تھا. All the books that you are going to refer to are by the writers who are writing in the time when Islam is already an established center. Pick up a scholar who is not from the center of the Islam and then you'll find out what he's saying. He's saying move towards the center, and pick up a scholar who is after the breaking of the center of Islam. He'll be saying whatever I'm saying right now. That unless you have an established center, Adam al-Khalafa, Ummul Khabais. Every man will go through the khabasat of individual sins and curses and group dissonance. If there is no center backing it up, you're not worth a single dollar if the index is not calling it a dollar. And that's why there's going to be a problem in your psychology right now. And that is how serious the matter is. That's why, Aishman, when I say Pakistan, I focus, میری ساری امید پاکستان سے ہے. Because پاکستان on paper اسلام کے لیے بنا ہوا ہے. جان کے ہاں میں جان کے ادھر ہوا تھا. کیوں؟ کیونکہ آپ کی اس بات کے اوپر پاکستان زندہ باد کا نعرہ میں لگوا کے ٹھیک کر سکتا ہوں. اچھا ایک بات بتائیں, اس کنفیوژن کا پلندرے کو میں ایک سیکنڈ میں ایڈریس کرتا ہوں. ایک ایسا ایٹریبیوٹ بتائیں کہ جس میں ایک ایسا جملہ بولیں جس میں مثال دو. غور سے سب سن لیں کہ میں اس کام کو کرتے ہوئے اچھا پاکستانی اور نیک مسلمان دونوں اکٹھے ہو جاتا ہوں. نہیں میرا سوال سمجھ گئے؟ ایک کوئی مثال نہیں جس سے کہ پتہ چلتا کہ اس بات سے پتہ چلا ہے کہ تم ایک اچھے پاکستانی ہو. کوئی ایک ایسا کام میں کروں جس سے پتہ چلے کہ اسلام چھوڑیں سر, اسلام کا کوئی تعلق نہیں اس بات سے, مگر تو ایک اچھا پاکستانی تو ہے نا. مثال جو مرضی بنا دے نا, ایکسپیرینس کی ضرورت نہیں. ہر جگہ پہ ہر طرح کے لوگ ہوتے ہیں. پاکستان میں لڑکی کو بچانے والے سارے تیز ہیں, لڑکے کو بچانے والا کوئی نہیں ہے. اوکے, آپ لڑکی ہیں, آپ کہہ سکتی ہیں ہم بہت پریکٹس کر کے بس سٹاپ پہ لڑکیاں ڈھونڈ کے تھکے ہوئے ہیں کہ کس کو کب تنگ کیا جا رہا ہے. ٹھیک ہے, لڑکوں کو نہیں, مذاق کر رہا ہوں. تو اس کا پاکستانی ہونے سے کیا تعلق ہے؟ وہ تو ہر جگہ پہ ہوتا ہے. انڈیا جائیں وہاں پہ بھی ایسی ہوگا. مجھے کوئی مثال دیں جسے یونیک پاکستانی پن دکھایا جائے. اور اس دنیا, آپ کو پتا نا پاکستان دنیا کا نمبر 1 چیریٹی گیونگ ملک ہو گیا ہے. تو چیریٹی کیوں بول رہے ہیں؟ 77 نمبر ہے ہمارا جی, بلکہ 82 ہو گیا تھا اس سال. تو ادھر بھی فیل ہم. کوئی پاکستانی پن میں بتاتا ہوں. پاکستانی پن, کینچی ایسے کر رہے ہو, طلاق کرا دی تو نے ماں باپ کی. پاکستانی پن. ٹھہرے میں نے آیتوں کی طرف کمر کی ہوئی ہے. میں تو نہیں بچنے والا. مقابلہ کسی بھی ملک کا کسی سے نہیں ہے. مقابلہ اسلام کا فلسفے کے ساتھ ہے. وہ فلسفے سے میں نے نکالنا ہے آپ کو. میں آ رہا ہوں. تھری بوائز. ہاں وہ 2 ماسی کے بیٹے ریسٹورنٹ سے تو نہیں آیا آپ؟ جی غور سے سنیں اللہ تعالیٰ کیا کہہ رہے ہیں. اللہ تعالیٰ یہاں پہ کیا کہہ رہے ہیں غور سے سنیں. اللہ تعالیٰ کا ایکسپریشن دیکھیں, سمجھ لیں. اللہ تعالیٰ کیا, انگلش پڑھ لیں, میں عربی سناتا ہوں آپ کو. اللہ تعالیٰ کہہ رہے ہیں یا ایھا الذین آمنوا من یرتد منکم عن دینہ فسوف یأتی اللہ بقوم, highlighted in red in the Arabic, فسوف یأتی اللہ بقوم. یا ایھا الذین آمنوا, if you believe, whoever among you abandons, یہاں پہ بھی انگلش میں کیا لکھا ہے, abandons their faith. Abandon their faith لکھا اللہ نے. Look at that in Arabic. Where does it say iman? This is what they do. Ya ayyuhallazina amanu man yartadda minkum an dinihi fasawfa ya'lam. System change karoge. Deen system ہوتا ہے نا, عربی میں دین سسٹم وہ کہتے ہیں. یہاں پہ کیا لکھ دیا, ایمان. اگر سسٹم ہٹاؤ گے تو اللہ تعالیٰ کس کو لے کے آئے گا, تم سے بہتر کسی اور قوم کو لے کے آ جائے گا, جس کا سسٹم یہاں پہ نافذ کرو گے, اوتھ میں کھڑے ہو کے سنا رہے ہو گے I believe God save the queen. Kangaroos, koalas, wallabies. I don't know what you guys have here in the oath. Ya ayyuhallazina amanu man yartadda minkum an dinihi fasawfa ya'ti Allah is going to bring better upon you. Become who? Qawm, people. پیپل قوم کون ہوتی ہے, سسٹم. اس قوم کا میں اور برازیل والے قوم میں نہیں, میں اور کسی اور طرح کے لوگ قوم میں ہونے چاہیے نا, جن کا فلسفہ ایک ہو, جن کا سسٹم ایک ہو. اللہ تعالیٰ وہ کہہ رہے یحبہم ویحبونہ وذلۃ علی المؤمنین عزۃ علی الکافرین. Whoa, this is a big problem, especially for little girls who are born here. Because then Allah is saying, yujahiduna fi sabilillahi wala yakhafuna lawmata la'im. You know what that means, Maha? Yakhafuna lawmata la'im? That no matter what they say against Islam, I will have absolutely no fear to get affected by their blame. And that's why you see apologetics on P.S. Morgan shows and I don't know what not going on, explaining, Hamas نے بچے نہیں مارے, Hamas نے بچے نہیں مارے. جواب سوال یہ تھا, حماس نے کم بڑے کیوں مارے ہیں, یہ سوال کوئی کر نہیں رہا. حماس نے بچے نہیں مارے والے بینر لے کے سارے آگے. سیم اسرائیل کے جیو نبی علیہ السلام کے سامنے کھڑے ہوئے, سیم, جس کا کہتے ہیں نا بدلہ لیں گے. ہوا کیا تھا پتا آپ کو؟ یہ آیت آئی ہے, نبی علیہ السلام نے کہا, سعد you were speaking here and Allah was speaking same sentence in the 7th heaven. یہ ہے غزہ کی کہانی جو 1400 سال پہلے ہوئی تھی. when Banu Qurayza says we're gonna strike Muslims where it hurts, غزوہ احزاب کے اوپر, اور سعد بن معاذ was the head of Aus. He was very close to Banu Qurayza. When Banu Qurayza were caught, لمبی سٹوری کر کے چھوٹی بتا رہا ہوں, Banu Qurayza said, سعد سے کہو وہ ہمارا فیصلہ کرے, محمد نہیں فیصلہ کریں گے, سعد سے کہو فیصلہ کر لیں, ہماری بس یہ گزارش ہے. And Sa'd is standing on the left of the Prophet ﷺ. Prophet ﷺ is standing on the right. And Sa'd bin Mu'adh says, you want me to do justice upon you Jews, and I will do justice from the book that you believe in, not the book that I do, so that you would know it is true justice. And then he says, Maha looks up and says, if the people on the right have no objections, which is the Prophet ﷺ, I am going to decree upon them the punishment from Torah, not the Quran. Okay? And from today onwards, every born human being will have the weapons to shoot at Islam. Saad bin Mal is saying that. Islamophobia ki bina pad rahi hai. Everyone will blame Muslims for whatever I'm about to decide. So, oh Allah, make me oblivious. لَقَدْ آنَ لِسَعْدٍ. This is the exact word. Listen to what he's saying. Read this ayah in red. لَقَدْ آنَ لِسَعْدٍ أَنْ لَا تَأْخُذَهُ فِي اللَّهِ لَوْمَةَ لَائِمٍ. He looks up and says, Ya Allah, لَقَدْ آنَ لِسَعْدٍ أَنْ لَا تَأْخُذَهُ فِي اللَّهِ لَوْمَةَ لَائِمٍ. And Prophet said, you were saying this here, Allah was saying this upstairs. يُجَاهِدُونَ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ وَلَا يَخَافُونَ لَوْمَةَ لَائِمٍ. That you do not get scared of anything except Allah. That's it. You're all for Allah. No matter what people are going to say. Yeah. 1900 people killed one day in cold blood because of mutiny? Yes. 1900 people? Yes. और ये हमास टेररिस्ट लगे हुए हैं मुस्लिम अपॉलजिस्ट. सो ये कोई और पार्ट है इस आयत का. जो असली पार्ट है जिसको आपको दिखाना था वो क्या है? अल्लाह इज सेइंग, ओ पीपल, you are a single center people, you are a qawm. Come on, you gotta come up with a, if you're not gonna behave like that, I'm gonna change you. This is Surah Muhammad. Surah Muhammad, Allah is saying, if you're not going to do this, I am going to replace you. Tabdeel. Change you. Replace you with people who are better than you. And then he did. Okay? He has given us all the recipes. We're not doing it. And he's going to. And we are not going to be able to do anything about it. How? Because Ar-Rad, Surah Ar-Rad, Allah Ta'ala says, Allah is not going to intervene in these affairs. Unless you start, I'm not gonna. I am not gonna. If you don't act like people, you start acting like individuals, I'm not helping you. Allah does not help the prophets, alayhi salam. Allah does not help the sahabas. Allah only helps Islam. Whoever is inside Islam gets the help. That's the sunnah of Allah. Everybody knows this. And this is why Allah is saying that unless you yourself come together, put the center in, revolve around it, Allah does not change the plight of a nation which does not want or does change itself. खुद नहीं करेंगे, अल्लाह नहीं करेगा. अल्लाह ताला ने कहा यही तो टेस्ट है भाई. और क्या टेस्ट है? क्या बच्चे ने आयत पढ़ी आज? बच्चे ने यही आयत पढ़ी. इन्ना अरदना अल-अमानता अला अस-समावाति वल अर्दि वल जिबाल फअबैना अन यहमिलहा व अशफaqna मिनहा व हमलहा अल-इंसान. That we presented to you? No. You came to us. We presented it to everything, every creation that we had. You, oh humans, you came to me and you said, we want to take this challenge downstairs. We want to take the burden. Give it to us. Especially Muslim kids born in Australia. They never know this. The Quran, Allah is saying that you, Maha, came to Allah and you said, God, give me this responsibility. You know this current atheistic mindset that, you know what, I didn't ask to come here. Why should I be grateful? Look at all the problems, kids dying, disease, illness, sickness, corruption. And you want me to be grateful? Allah is saying, yeah, I didn't want you to be grateful. That's for your own good. You're the one who asked for this. You walked this line yourself by your own choice. Now you cannot say, oh, बस मैं एक सर लाचार सा आदमी हूँ, मेरे से क्या हो सकता है? या आप लाचार है, सबसे पहले अपने बच्चों को डेफिनेशंस क्लियर करके दे सकते हैं. आपसे सबसे पहला सवाल ये होना. Registered? I don't know. And I'm like, what do you mean registered? I said, sir, Australian Muslims prefer not to disclose that they're Muslims. So we will never get the accurate count. You understand what I'm saying? See, the problem is bigger then you and I can actually discuss in this kind of hall, in this kind of time. My friend, Muslims are ashamed of being even Muslims. Forget Pakistani Aisha or Ayashmin.
Is there any authentic source, what you just said?
Yeah, Sydney. Sydney. No, it's not random. It's not random.
There has to be some sort of proof or some sort of, backing.
Okay, listen, what you're asking me, what you're asking me, sir, listen, think what you're asking me. Think about it. Sir, you're not thinking what you're asking me. Think about what you're asking me. That people who do not declare themselves Muslims, prove it. Australia can't even prove it. How can I? Australian government says declare, they don't. Nobody can prove it.
No, as a public speaker, you just mentioned.
That Sydney people.
No, you just quoted something which.
From Sydney. Not something, I'm going to tell you what it is. Sydney people.
Yeah, Sydney people, who? What Sydney people?
Can I just answer?
I'm sorry, I've been if I'm wrong, so.
Okay, let me tell you, let me do a little survey, sir. You know what, listen. This is a public session, so I'm going to respect every question. Do you all, any one of you, think that there is a possibility that you know of, heard of, that people don't declare themselves Muslims? Yes. So it's not just Sydney then, it's Melbourne and Sydney now. Okay? So that's the only source we can get. I'll tell you what. Yeah. What I'm saying is, this is something even government of Australia cannot prove because they don't declare. If they had declared, then I would have been like, you know what, let me check the records. Europe, Canada, America, even China. Even Uyghur Muslims don't do that. Only Australian Muslims are doing that. Okay, well, Uyghur Muslims do that now. मेरी अम्मी होना तो कोई असूल नहीं है. साहिल की अम्मी हो तो सही होगी. जो गलत है वो गलत है, चाहे वो अम्मी हो, अब्बू हो, बेटा हो, भाई हो. बेटा बच्चे होते हैं विक्टिम बच्चे होते हैं, बड़ा विक्टिम नहीं हो सकता. उसकी अम्मी क्यों ठीक है? मस्जिद के मौलवी की अम्मी क्यों गलत है? कुरान से, सीरा से. अभी के लिए मैं आपकी बात को इसलिए सही कह रहा हूं ताकि मैं इस साइड पे जो मैंने बात गलत आपकी. पाकिस्तान का सिर्फ एक मॉडल है कि बाप से सवाल नहीं करते बेटा. और इसलिए क्या होता है, बच्चा बाप से कम आईक्यू का परवान चढ़ता है. यह बहुत बड़ा मसला है. शौहर से सवाल नहीं करते, मैं समझ सकता हूं, तलाक का मामला है. बाप से कौन सी तलाक होती है? आप क्या होता है फिर? आपने देखे नहीं टेढ़े मुंह वाले बच्चे? टेढ़े मुंह वाले बच्चे वो होते हैं जिनके ग्रेड्स बहुत अच्छे आते हैं दुनिया में, क्योंकि वो सवाल बहुत करते हैं. ज़ाहिर मुंह तो टेढ़ा होता है, बाप मारता बहुत है उनको, मगर ग्रेड्स दुनिया में बहुत अच्छे इनके दर्जात होते हैं. थोड़े दांत तुड़वा लें, मगर पाकिस्तानी बाप से सवाल जरूर करें कि अबू जी जो आपने बताया इसके पीछे साइंस क्या है.
بل يريد الإنسان ليفجر أمامه يسأل أيان يوم القيامة فإذا برق البصر وخسف القمر وجمع الشمس والقمر يقول الإنسان يومئذ أين المفر كلا لا وزر إلى ربك يومئذ المستقر ينبأ الإنسان يومئذ بما قدم وأخر بل الإنسان على نفسه بصيرة ولو ألقى معاذيره لا تحرك به لسانك لتعجل به إن علينا جمعه وقرآنه فإذا قرأناه فاتبع قرآنه ثم إن علينا بيانه كلا بل تحبون العاجلة وتذرون الآخرة وجوه يومئذ ناظرة إلى ربها ناظرة ووجوه يومئذ باسرة تظن أن يفعل بها فاقرة كلا إذا بلغت التراقي وقيل من راق وظن أنه الفراق والتفت الساق بالساق إلى ربك يومئذ المساق فلا صدق ولا صلى ولكن كذب وتولى ثم ذهب إلى أهله يتمطى أولى لك فأولى ثم أولى لك فأولى أيحسب الإنسان أن يترك سدى أيحسب الإنسان أن يترك سدى ألم يك نطفة من مني يمنى ثم كان علقة فخلق فسوى فجعل منه الزوجين الذكر والأنثى أليس ذلك